In this lesson, we are going to learn about naming monatomic ions just using the periodic table. First of all, in the previous lesson, we learned that each group A has a specific number of charges based on the number of electron lost or gained from a specific group, so they have the same electron configuration as the nearby noble gas. Now, we can sum it up so that there are two types of ions: positively charged ions or negatively charged ions. Now, first thing first, let's look at positively charged ions. And there are two types of positively charged ion. One's coming from group A's, the other one's coming from group B's. So the first thing first, positively charged ions from group A's, 1A through 3A, only have one possible charges. That is, they lose specific number of electron based on that specific group. For example, group 1A would lose 1 valence electron, group 2A would lose 2, and group 3A would lose a total of 3 to form a stable ion. So in this case, we will look at this right here. If that's the case, they lose specific numbers, so therefore they only have one possible charge. So therefore, when we look at the naming of positive ions, we can use the name of the elements. So the name of the elements are also the name of the ions formed from group 1A through 3A. Now going down to group B's, because of the D sublevel, remember the D sublevel, the positively charged ions from group B could have more than one possible charges. So in reality, how do we determine which one is the correct charge? It could be 2 plus, it could be 3 plus. So how do you know which one is going to be the one we are going to use? So what we do is we use Roman numerals to indicate a specific charge. If the Roman numeral is 1, the charge must be 1 plus or plus. If the Roman numeral is 2, it would be 2 plus. And the Roman numeral is 5 would be 5 plus. So let's just review. I'm going to count 1 through 5 for you, okay, in terms of Roman numeral. 1, 2, 3. So these are letter I, okay? And then 4, 5, and then 6. Just be careful with the 4. The I go first, okay? So as you can see over here, we have iron with plus, which in this case is 1 plus. 2 plus, we have the Roman numeral 2, and 4 plus, we have Roman numeral 4. Where if we look at the example of group 1A ions, we have H plus, Li plus, Na plus, K plus. Notice it doesn't matter in group 1A, 2A, 3A. It takes the name of the element. There's nothing else to it. We just name it based on the name of the elements. Now the last type of ions that we are going to look at is the negatively charged ions, which are anions. Just to go back to review, anions, if you don't remember what it is, think of the N as negative, where positively charged ions are cations. Think of the letter T as a positive charge, okay? So N for negative, T for positive charge. So what makes this whole entire process is tricky because of the negatively charged ion, because we have to drop the ending and replace with IDE. And the hardest part is knowing what is the ending in specific group on the periodic table. So I'm going to cross out the ending for you, okay? For nitrogen, we cross that out. For phosphorus, we cross that out. And we just replace with IDE. So to show it to you, we have nitrogen. We have, in this case, nitrite. See how we replace with IDE? And you do the same thing. Arsenic, that one cross out. And for group 5A, we have to remember the exception of Sb and Bi. They form positively charged ions. And let's continue to group 6A and 7A. 6A, we can cross this out. Sulfur, we can cross that out. And for selenium, we can cross that out. And tellurium, we can cross that out. And for polonium, again, there is an exception. It is forming a positive charged ions. Now let's go to group 7A. We can cross out. Notice how they have the same ending. We can cross it all out, okay? And right here, we can cross it all out as well. And again, all you have to do is now replace the ending with IDE. Just to illustrate, like sulfur, we have So-Fi. There you go. See how that works? So now you can use your periodic table to name any monatomic ions using the name on the periodic table that's given to you. And here are some examples of negatively charged ions. For nitrogen, we have nitrite. phosphorus, we have phosphide, and arsenic, we have arsenide. So that is how we use the periodic table to name any monatomic ions on the periodic table. And as always, if you have any question about this specific topic, take a picture of your work, put in the form, and we will help you from there. And we'll see you next time on another exciting chemistry lesson.